Specifically, I've been on the Milwaukee team since 2012. So I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the new tools as well as the older tools. So feel free to reach out to me, and I do have business cards here as well. They're actually stickers, so be careful if you try to put this in your pocket. I don't want the back of it to peel off. And I do have catalogs as well as cost books, because sometimes you guys may be on the road, and instead of calling back or trying to figure out how much something costs, this gives you the pricing for everything Milwaukee. Quick info on the book. So the front half of it is by category. So you'll have M18, M12, Sawzall blades. But if you go all the way to the back, as long as you have the part number you need, the back literally gives you part numbers and costs. So it makes it a lot easier to try to locate pricing for anything. So these are first come, first serve. If I need any extras, I'll just send them to Bob and he can get them to you guys after today. So the biggest thing with Milwaukee, well, first off, do you guys notice a trend with any of the tools on the table?
Fuel.
Fuel. Good. That's a good one. Anything else?
All right. Cordless.
Exactly. Fuel and cordless. So that is the way Milwaukee is going. Fuel. Do you know? Are you guys familiar with what fuel is? Okay. Cool. Well, for anybody not
Probably
familiar,
everybody.
I'm not.
not okay. Yeah, I'm gonna
No.
go into it. So with cordless tools, guys use them because they're super convenient compared to corded. But they try to do everything with them, and sometimes that can cause burnout for a lot of the tools. And for instance, some tools, if they get hot, the guys won't stop. They won't wait until the tools cool down and keep going. They're going to push the tool to the limit to get the job done. So a problem with tools overheating was because of the standard motor. So for instance, I actually have, this is not a Milwaukee motor, this is a DeWalt cordless motor. So the reason why a lot of tools overheat, so this is the way motors used to be designed. So you have the copper here that creates the power for the tool, surrounded by magnets. So because copper is a metal, once that tool is overheating, being surrounded by magnets does not help the motor run cool or breathe. So what we did was we re-engineered the motor. So now, and I'm going to pass these around together so you guys can compare. So now you see that the copper is no longer in the inner part of the motor. So because it's on the outside, it naturally runs cooler. So a lot of our tools no longer need to have the extra vents in the back to help the tool run cooler, so they got shorter, which was one plus. Also with the new redesign, there's a lot more copper in the tool, so copper means power. So now you have smaller tools that have more power, which is the ideal situation for any contractor. So then it naturally runs cooler, gives you a lot more power, and we can get these going in circulation. You can check it out. So fuel actually involves not just the motor, because a lot of guys say, oh, well, I have a 20 volt, so my higher voltage means more power. That is not the case. With batteries, the voltage is just the runtime. It does not give the power. The motors give the tool the power. So with Milwaukee's fuel, we have the Fuel Power Stick brushless motor, the red lithium battery, which I'll get into in a second, and Red Link Plus Intelligence. So for red lithium batteries, for some reason, there are so many guys still in the field using that old NiCad. It was a gentleman actually downstairs this morning saying that he still has the old system only because he has so many tools on that battery. But we need to try to get as many people as possible out of that old NiCad battery. I mean, your cell phones have lithium, the laptops, they all have lithium. But what it does is, for instance, these tools, I mean, my truck is full of demo tools. At the end of the day, I don't take the tools out and put it in the house so they can stay warm. The batteries being stored in extreme weather conditions, like now it's too cold, or even mid-August when it's too hot, the batteries will not be affected, so they will still have charge to them. And lithium actually doesn't discharge itself when it's not laying around. So a lot of these tools still have charge, so the guys can literally get the tool out the box and it's ready to go. So that's red lithium. Charges quicker, it holds the charge longer, and for Red Link Plus Intelligence was the third part of the fuel system. So all that means is all the electronics, and if you look at the battery, there's electronics, the motor, there's electronics on that. This is literally the brain of the tool. The battery knows which tool it's on, so it knows whether or not to put the same output for a flashlight versus a circular saw, which you don't need the same output from a battery. This also helps to make sure each cell gets fully charged. So I don't know if you run into any cordless competitors in the market and they say, oh, my battery takes 15 minutes. Well, is it equally charging all cells? Because 9 times out of 10, that may not be the case. but this is literally the brain of the tool. And then I normally have a NiCad battery just so you can compare the weight in the construction. And construction is the biggest reason why batteries fail. It's not because guys are overcharging them. It's literally just from falling off of ladders, off of trucks, or just being tossed in a bag at the end of the day. So Milwaukee, we take a lot of pride in our cordless. We do a lot of investment. A couple extra features on the battery. So you have the rubber base, so that absorbs the impact if it drops, and then the rubber insert as well. And because you guys probably run into HVAC mechanics, does anybody know what these holes do? The purpose of the, exactly. So,
What was the answer?
water. So if for some reason, maybe a plumber is cutting pipe, that this does not serve as a bathtub for the cells. Just like there's an older battery that literally has no holes at the bottom, so it can turn into a pool that your battery cells are sitting into. And I don't know, I wouldn't want my cell phone or any battery from my laptop sitting in a pool of water without me knowing it. So these are actually called weep holes, so they drain. So what if a guy says, oh, well, I'm not doing anything with water? Well, condensation can build up in batteries. So any type of moisture that's in the environment, it can be stored in the battery, which is not good. So, yeah, I can pass this around, see if anybody will check it out. So cool, that is literally the overview of all of Milwaukee's cordless. So once again, we don't just focus on brushless motors. It's the electronics, the battery, and the motor that makes Milwaukee the best. So more specifically, I guess we'll start with M12. Because M12 has come a long way. And we actually had a conference call this morning. You see how we have the M12 fuel and M18 fuel? There's going to be a category of tools right in the middle. So they didn't give us a spreadsheet or any PowerPoint or anything, but there's going to be, it's still going to be, it's going to be 18 volt. I'm almost certain it's 18 volt, but it's going to be a compact brushless 18. Because sometimes people say, oh, I need a lightweight tool. So we're going to have a middle ground. But once I get all the details and information, I'll forward that to you guys. So not sure if that's confidential or not, but now you know. So first things first, like I said, fuel. So all of the fuel tools, they will say fuel on it, so it's not a guessing game. So with the motor, when I mentioned earlier, the tools are smaller and more compact but more powerful. This is ideal. So a lot of contractors, like I said, they may have an older systems NiCad. This is a direct replacement for any 18 volt NiCad tools, except it's on the 12 volt. A lot of people underestimate the 12 volt, but mind you, the voltage of the battery does not give the tool power, it's the motor. So this is the only 12 volt drill with a 1/2 inch chuck. So this drill, and I do have some wood downstairs if anybody wants to hang out and we can, actually drill through a 4x4 with this little guy, it'll do it. But these drills have the same size chuck, so they can take the same bit. Now the torque is not matched, but because that's the fuel, 18 volt. But if anybody has any older 18 volt tools, this is a perfect replacement. 12 volt is one of our bigger lines, along with 18. So those are the two main cordless lines that we have. And then you'll see a lot of unique tools. So this one is not fuel. Has anybody sold one of these before? Any feedback from your customer? Yeah, this guy saves so much time when cutting copper. Because before, so what Milwaukee does with cordless, we try to take any manual application and put a battery on it. So now instead of, for instance, cutting copper, you don't have the manual copper cut anymore. You literally just snap the tool right around and pull the trigger. So like I said, the 12 volt, there are at least 60 tools on this platform. It includes the heated gear, which is a top selling item every single winter. We sell out. So if you have any customers that are familiar with the heated gear and maybe looking for it for next season, August is, I know it's crazy, you don't buy heated items in August, but August is the best time to start dropping info for heated gear. Because we're still looking for a couple jackets in the field now. People wait till it snows and want to buy heated gear. Here's another tray-specific tool on the 12 volt. You guys familiar with this? PVC shear. We've actually redesigned the blade for this. And the motor as well. So we're going to keep the part number the same, except it's going to have a little bit more power. Because sometimes when you get to the schedule 40, schedule 80, it'll stall a little bit.
What size does that go up to?
Up to 2 inches. I did bring some. The demos are for you guys. I'm not going to do anything. So I played with these enough, but feel free to. I pass everything around. You're going to make a cut. I have extra copper and PVC if we need to get it. But this does up to 2 inches, and the copper cutter, what's the biggest size copper this can cut? 1 inch, exactly 1 inch. So, cool. And finally, I only brought in a couple tools, but if there are any other tools that you guys like to see, like the PEX expander, or we're actually going to have a circular saw on the 12 volt come out. I want to say that's going to start shipping in February. That's a 5 3/8 blade. There's been a lot of requests in the field for that specific tool.
Something like that. What's the time for the cutting on that?
For the circular saw? Well, any tool for application, you have to ask them how thick is the material, what are they cutting, or what are they drilling through, what are they fastening, because all those variables change the runtime. So they don't give us any accurate runtime for each tool because there's way too many applications. And my memory couldn't store all that. If you drill a little inch screw, a 2 inch screw, it's just too many applications. But the cool thing though, as far as the battery life, for 12 volt, all of the tools have the battery gauge on it. So all 4 bars are full. So this is a fully charged battery. For 18 volt though, it's actually on the battery itself. So if they feel like they're gonna have an 8-hour job, they can check the batteries before they start and have a replacement just in case. But if they need to charge it throughout the project, the XC batteries, which are the bigger batteries, because there's 2 different styles within 12 and 18 volt. So the XC battery takes a max hour to charge, but I've charged them within 30 minutes. But I just say max hour because if I say 30 and it takes 35, you'll think the battery's not performing. And then for the compact, it's half of that. So 30 minutes max, but I've seen, once again, I've seen them charging 15. So that helps with determining the runtime. So, and then finally, this last 12, like I said, if there's any tools that I have catalogs, if there's anything specifically that you guys want to see, or if your customers would like to demo it, definitely let me know so we can get it to you. So this is ideal for a strut or any small conduit. Like I say, oh, this is so cute, but it cuts. It has power. It's one of the 12 volt tools. Super easy to change the blade, and this actually comes with an XC battery, so the extended battery. We like to package all the saws with the XC because they're going to be cutting and they're going to need the longer runtime compared to drills and impacts. So, lightweight. This is OSHA's only one-handed approved saw. So if they're up on a ladder or doing any overhead cutting, they can just have this hand free or holding the material and let the tool do the cut. A lot of the larger band saws, they have a handle here. I didn't bring it in, but you would have to. It's a two-handed tool. This one is not. So, anybody want to make any cuts or anything? Try it out. No?
Come on, somebody volunteer.
You go ahead, Christine.
No.
Well, let's hear it if you want. I'll just pass it around.
Just hand it to her.
No. I want somebody that's hands-on.
All right. Well, it's here. It's here if you want to try it.
Carrie, you want to try it?
Oh, alrighty. Let's get
Carrie will
started.
do it. Come on, Carrie.
There we go.
Which one are you using? Copper or PVC?
Copper.
Copper. Alright, so in order to operate the tool, there's a trigger here. This locks the jaws open so you can insert the pipe. Can I borrow this 1 second? So if you can see the jaws, it automatically adjusts to which size pipe you have. So if you have a 1/2 inch versus an inch, there's no adjustment need to be made. Then there's a window at the top. So if the guys make a cut, they can be sure to be right on with their accuracy. So once you lock it in, you're going to flip the switch over and pull the trigger, and the jaws will rotate around the pipe. So now it's locked open.
Don't put your finger in there.
Yeah, it says don't put your finger in. If you hold the pipe, don't let the pipe rotate. Because you got to keep the pipe still.
He said flip the switch.
Yep.
Okay.
Now pull the trigger. Don't let the pipe spin. That's it. Piece of cake. Now, can you imagine? A lot of guys say, "Oh, I can use a manual cutter and cut quicker than that."
Yeah, right.
But what happens?
Hand will be sore at the end of
Or what if you just don't have the space to put your manual cutter around? You literally own. Thank you.
Yeah, you didn't have to put any muscle on
Not
holding
at
it or
all.
anything.
And that's the goal behind a lot of the tools. When we do a lot
Yay,
of
Carrie.
yay. Yeah, when we do a lot of conventions, the goal is to get like the sales guys comfortable with the tools And I don't know how many, because I had to man a cutting station, which can possibly be the worst station to man because cutting tools can be the most dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But we had some guys that weren't comfortable with using like bandsaws and sawzalls, but after that they said I literally didn't have to do anything. Like we had a Fuel 18-volt bandsaw that has a 5-inch cut capacity, and it literally we had I want to say a 4-inch pipe, and it pulled right through. Piece of cake. So that's a quick plug on Milwaukee cordless. So for 18 volt, this is pretty cool. So this is brand new. Like I said, the idea behind this is fuel though. So this one, at one point the standard cordless SDS Plus rotary hammer was a 7/8. This is 1 1/8 inch. So this can go right up against the Hilti, as well as the Bosch, like the Bulldog Max, and I think it's a TE30, I want to say. So this is a direct replacement for it. It's quick, and that's a situation we run into with a lot of our Fuel 18 volt. For instance, the sawzalls, the bandsaw, a lot of the cutting tools, the grinders, the circ saw, which I have here. This is also new. We literally took 90% of the parts from the corded and transferred it to the cordless, so it has the durability of a corded, but with that new motor, it's actually quicker. So we're seeing a lot of guys, even our own customers that are using our corded bandsaws, stop using ours and jump into the fuel. So fuel is definitely the way to go.
What do most contractors use the rotary hammers for? Is that for like concrete and?
Yeah, concrete. So the difference between a hammer drill and a rotary hammer, for instance, this is like a woodpecker and this is like Mike Tyson as far as hammering. So this is super fast, but it doesn't hit as hard. This is not as fast, but it hits harder than this guy. The bits are different too. There's specific bits for rotary hammers. There's 3 different types. There's SDS Plus, SDS Max, and Spline. And all it means is there's little grooves inside that actually, because of how much force this has, those grooves allow the tool to hold the bit better. Because it can be a lot of vibration. It's also more vibration out of this because it hits harder, but you don't want that bit slipping out while you're hammering. And these actually have an added feature too. These can actually just hammer, versus these you can only hammer drill. So if you need to do any chipping, these will be the way to go.
Ceramic floors.
Yeah. And then, like I said, there's a smaller version of this as well. There's 1 inch, but this at the price point, I want to say these are probably around between $20 to $50 price difference. We actually sell more of the larger ones than the compact, just because it makes more sense. And then the same thing with hammer drills. There was a gentleman downstairs. He was looking for a non-hammer drill. I said, well, for the price difference, you'd be better off just getting a hammer drill, because let's say tomorrow's project you run into concrete, you got to buy a whole new tool instead of had you spent the extra, $20, $30 for the hammer drill. All you do is just turn to the hammer feature and you're ready to go. So, did anybody want to pass this around? Check it out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And like I said, all these tools are available to you and your customers for demos.
It's $100.
So these 2 tools come in a set together. This is our most popular combo kit. So you got the Fuel hammer drill and then the Fuel impact driver. Impact drivers are extremely popular because they're small, compact, and they have a lot of power. But sometimes they can be overkill. But because we upgraded the motor to the brushless motor, we added more torque to the impact driver. But we also had to give 3 modes so you can slow the tool down, and it lessens the torque. But had we not given you the option of the 3 modes, that can sometimes be overkill. It'll either strip out screws or damage the material you're going into. We don't want that. So the impact drivers has 3, but the impact wrenches have a 2 mode option, and the torque is different between all of the 3 modes. So if they put it on 1, this is kind of like having a 12 volt impact, and then 3 is your standard impact driver. So light, compact. It's about 3 pounds. I want to say the most common impact driver is about 4. So it is small and compact, but it does have a ton of power. I'll get in the cutting real quick. So sawzalls. Milwaukee is known for sawzalls. Like I said before, a lot of our corded tools, we took the parts and put it into the cordless. So this Sawzall actually cuts quicker than our own 12-amp corded Sawzall. It's not like we just sit around racing saws because that's not the safest way, but we literally had a weight tied to the base of it, and it hung, and we had the two saws going side by side, and this one came out on top every time. A lot of people say the fuel it does have a little bit more weight, but with the speed, the power, this is a direct replacement for corded. So it's a corded saw with the cordless convenience. So once again, this is on the 18 volt. And the shoe, which is the piece in the front, is adjustable. You got a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you use the regular lithium batteries for either the fuel or the regular 18 volt? You can interchange batteries.
Yeah, it's all a part of the M18. So looking at the battery, so this one, all of the fuel will come with a 4 amp hour battery. This is not a 4 amp hour battery because it does not have the 4.0 on it. So this is a 3 amp hour battery. So all that means is this is a 30 gallon gas tank versus a 40 gallon gas tank. That's a good way to look at it. So it's more runtime. And then, which we recently launched, the 50 gallon gas tank. So a 5.0 amp hour battery. And these all work on any of the tools. So if you're selling a lot of cordless saws, this will be the best add-on. Once again, they already ship with the 4.0, but this is a good add-on. So, yeah, those engineers, they do some crazy things with tools where they can literally just make a quick change and a brand new upgrade. And also going forward with the batteries, going back into the water. If you run into somebody, and I'll pass this around because you can see there's actually a channel. There's a black cage here that channels the water away from the cells, which we didn't have in the batteries in the past. But a couple new additions.
What's the retail price on this?
You know what the cost? No, actually the cost is the same as the 4.0.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I try not to memorize retail because sometimes you may have an account somewhere and a customer may not, and somebody gets preferred pricing and somebody may not. But the cost is the same on the two.
Are they going to start packaging these standard with the 5.0s now?
I don't think so.
Oh.
There's no talk on that. I think they're just going to keep the fuel with the 4.0s, the non-fuel with the 3.0s, and then just have that as an add-on accessory. But who knows? That can change. I can get a conference call tomorrow. And then a couple of things with the batteries. We do sell, we call them starter kits. So if you have anybody looking at just a light or just one tool or just a radio, we have the battery and charger as a one part number now, which we didn't have before. So that's pretty beneficial for a lot of customers that may just need a battery, or just a charger. And then looking at this is also one of the crazy things the engineers have done with the fuel. This is a 7 1/4 circ saw. This actually cuts a lot quicker than our own corded. It actually has a dust port where it blows any of the sawdust back behind you, which is good. So it doesn't, it doesn't mess up the area or blow directly on you, which is not cool. This is a rafter hook. A lot of guys say it's for your pants. Like, no, I wouldn't suggest hanging this from your pants if you want to keep them, but it's a rafter hook. So if they have any ladders or any beams or anything, they can hang it from there. But that's going around.
Careful.
And then I brought this in too because you guys have this in stock. Anybody know what this cuts? Exactly. This is an only metal cutting circ saw. The blade on this will be the same size as the 12 volt circular saw, except that one's going to be for wood. This one is for metal. The reason why there's a difference between the two is the RPMs. When you cut wood, you can be fast because it's wood. You can be aggressive. Metal is not the case. So this does not spin as fast as your standard circular saw. So that's why this is only for metal. Another cool thing is this makes a cool cut. So as soon as they cut, they can grab that material without, letting it sit to cool down at all.
What size blade is that?
This is a 5 3/8 blade.
So is that going to be the same as the 12 volt one? Just
It
with
is.
a wood blade?
Exactly. Yep. And this has a 2-inch cut capacity. So I went to an iron shop, a metalworking shop up in PA last week, and they brought the thick. I always get nervous for demos because for some reason, as soon as you're going to try it out in front of somebody, nothing goes right. So they brought out the thickest piece of metal they can find, and it went right through it. and they did it multiple times. I said, "Oh, my saw!" But it worked, and they brought some some extra blades. So the demos are definitely a way to go.
Yeah, those work great on channel, strut channel.
Oh yeah, yep.
Now, are you gonna be able to just put a wood blade on that and use it as a wood saw too?
You can, but
doesn't
because of
spin
the
fast
difference, because of the difference in RPMs, just gotta be mindful of the material you're working with, and that's for any tool. You gotta make sure you have the right tool with the right accessory, because then if the tool fails, it's not the tool's fault.
Are those the ones you can cut all thread with, and you don't have to grind it? You can spin a nut right on after you cut the all thread. Is that what?
Yep. Yep. So, and that is that for tools. Anybody have any questions on tools? No? Okay. And then this is one of Milwaukee's another quick growing category. Not the backpack, but everything inside. So, like I said before, we have trade specific for the tools. We also have trade specific for hand tools. So a lot of the research what we do when we launch new tools, we go on and off various job sites and we talk directly to the contractors. So we find out exactly what they need. For instance, a 25-foot magnetic tape. We actually have a newer model that's coming out. It won't be magnetic, but it's actually going to have a wider base. The reason being is if a guy's measuring like a 2x4 or something flat, this tape, you measure it and you let the tape go to make your mark, the tape's going to tip over. So we went back and changed it, so we have a new one at a lower price point, which will help us stay competitive and actually get the contractors exactly what they need. Another cool tool, you know what, the lines was actually a little bit cooler, as far as pliers. So, like I said, everything we make is trade specific. So for instance, if anybody's cutting with machine screws like the number 6 and number 8 bolts, they can thread them through here, squeeze the handle, and it shortens it. There's also a pipe reamer on all of our pliers, which is unique to Milwaukee. So I'll pass this around. So the base for let me say that real quick. So when we go on and off job sites, we see a lot of guys, they customize their own tools to make it work for them. So we ask them, so what was the purpose of you, altering your tool? A lot of guys, when they bought pliers, they would literally cut off the bottoms of this to ream the pipe. So what we did was we just made the pliers without that, the rubber guard, so they can get the job done quicker. So a lot of cool things from Milwaukee. So any of our hand tools, you aren't just buying pliers or knives or screwdrivers. There's a hidden trick to every single hand tool, like the reamers, the bolt cutters, even the screwdrivers have wire strippers in them. The knives are wire strippers as well. Let's see what else is cool. So this is new. The scissors. So these are not your standard kitchen scissors. These operate more closely like snips. There's metal throughout the handle. Anybody even know why?
What is it?
Why is it metal throughout the handle?
Durability.
Durability, yeah. The biggest thing with scissors, at the end of the day, they don't neatly go in and put it back in the pocket. They're going to throw the scissors in, throw the tools on top. And let's say the next morning at the job site, the handle, this top piece is gone. Your scissors are no longer functional. So that's why we actually have the metal going throughout the top. And then another problem with scissors and snips that we discovered was the bolts. Sometimes when you cut a long piece of sheet metal, in the previous models, the bolt would snag. So we actually made it flush so it won't get in the way. And then these, you guys are familiar, these are spring loaded. So if you only have one operating hand, cut, close them back up, and snap them back into your belt. So, we will pass these around.
Jared has a stupid question for you.
Why don't you say it
No
for him,
questions
Chris?
stupid.
I don't remember what he asked me. What did he ask me?
He said, how do you ream the pipe with the bottom of that?
You just twist it. So once you make your cut, depending on, we do have smaller versions of it. So if you don't have, let's say you have a smaller pipe,
That pretty much might work.
yeah, you literally just put the handles, both handles in and just twist.
Yep, and then just twist it.
That was a
Yeah.
good question, Jared.
Good question,
Yeah.
Jared.
And then the linesmen, as you can see, they have the reaming head. And then the diagonal cutters too. These also have the reaming. I think we can get those going in separations. Yeah. And then the straights. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's actually a ruler on the scissors as well, so you don't need to have a tape and a marker and your scissors. So it's going the other direction.
Those things cut anything. That'll probably cut that copper.
Yeah, those scissors are sharp.
Seriously.
They are sharp.
This
That-
would.
Not the copper, but if you had like
These ones over here.
I think
if you had like quarter-inch just like a wire, that would cut right in half.
Cut wings off of the ducks.
Oh, John. That's
It's a nice visual.
Those linemen's, yeah, that'll take
Better
very
than
long.
the.
And a couple of new tools.
Yeah,
We have a stubby. Yeah, stubby. And we have this. I can open. We can. If anybody wants to use the scissors to open it, they can.
I gave a pair of those
So we
things
had
to my
that,
dad.
and we have a ratcheting
Start
version
back
of
in.
that. This storage.
Literally cut chicken in half. Seriously.
There you go.
The scissors.
It sounds like using in the kitchen. Cut chicken breasts in half, anything.
Sounds like,
You use them in the kitchen?
Yeah, I got a pair for my dad.
Take the tin snaps out on my Jeep now. There's scissors in it.
Actually, that probably would be pretty.
Frozen. I'm like frozen.
Seriously.
Before.
Okay, there's some pretty heavy duty scissors. I mean,
Oh,
Milwaukee
I
is
didn't
nothing
know
but heavy
that.
duty, right? And a couple other hand. This is actually considered a hand tool.
Make sure you.
Did you guys know Milwaukee was in
I
markers?
don't know if that one.
No. So this isn't your standard Sharpie or just your normal Staples marker. There's a couple cool things about these.
Staples marker. You bad enough on yourself?
Huh? No, look, I have no relation
Self-made
to.
marker.
Yeah, I have no relation to the office store.
Do you see this?
Here we go.
No, we didn't.
So these are made specifically for job sites.
Come this way?
They have the hard hat clip. We could pass the rest of them around.
that one.
You take a look.
Why do these have the grooves on the
I
outside?
knew they made it on
That's the
colors.
reaming part. So like you said, after you make a cut on the pipe, sometimes you need the top of it to be smooth, like the copper cutter. Well, luckily the copper cutter doesn't need much reaming. But if it's rough on the inside of here, they take that and put it in the inside and twist it.
Okay.
And that smooths it out. It's like a file. So the markers are cool. There's a so the cap serves as a hard hat clip, so they can keep it on them because markers are so easily to lose on job sites. A cool thing about the tip though, it's not your standard Sharpie tip. You can leave the top off this for 72 hours, so that's 3 days without the top, and this will not dry out. If I need to make an extremely long mark on concrete or a very abrasive material, it won't mushroom the tip out as well. Because Sharpie, it'll eventually, start falling apart on you. This little piece here is actually, they call it a lip. But this, let's say somebody's up on another floor, and then if the marker starts to roll, this stops the marker from rolling off. And we have this. We have them, as you see, in the fine, various colors, and we have them in. We're gonna have a chisel. We have a chisel tip, and we have them with a stylus at the end. So if guys are on job sites and they have tablets, they can literally just pop the cap off the stylus and keep their gloves on without damaging the screen on their phone, or if their fingers are too big. It's really easy to use.
Do you still have the ones that with like the, I don't know, they're a lot thicker? It's like
Yep, the
half-inch.
medium. Yep, we have the medium, fine, and then chisel.
And you don't have a square tip yet?
No, just the chisel for right now, and then the regular fine.
Now with these, you were explaining about it snagging.
Yeah,
What part are you
previous
talking
models,
about?
the bolt right here.
Over here.
So if you can imagine this on both sides, where it would stick out on both sides, it's impossible to make a long cut if you have that bolt
Okay.
out. Because the material gets stuck.
Like sheet metal,
Yeah.
curl up
Exactly.
and then hit the bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those work is good for left-handers. That's for right.
That one looks like
Yeah.
aviation snaps. They look
And then we do have left, right, we have right angle, we got bulldog, a lot of different models. Alright,
I know.
and then finally, well, I guess we can touch on accessories. Well, so this is another new item for Milwaukee. We have a lot of new storage options now. We have work belts, we have pouches, and these are color coded, so it helps the contractor stay organized. The color doesn't mean anything. The base is actually pretty cool because once they start loading tools in, it'll stand by itself. So that's pretty good. Pass these around. You can separate them if you want. The backpack has been my favorite because normally when I unload for things like this, I would carry one of these. But the backpack is the easiest way to transport tools because it's a lot more comfortable than having all the tools weight on one shoulder. From that, the back is super padded, so it's comfortable. Tons of storage because I'm OCD, so I need to have a spot for everything, and this serves its purpose. This pocket here is waterproof, so if you have any meters, they can store it here, or cell phones or tablets. It's safe to go here. There's a laptop bag in the back. You know what? Let me see. 'Cause this is the material.
Yeah, not right.
But maybe not. Anyway, I'll take that part. But you can see the base, super durable, so it can stand by itself. You're not gonna put this on the table. I don't want to scratch up the table. But I'm gonna pass this around too. The cost of this is in the book. I want to say the retail for this is between like $100 and $150, if anybody asks. But if you walk onto, if we do any sales calls or any job sites, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna have that bag, and that's gonna be the first thing people ask about. They don't even care about the tools. They want to know what's up with the backpack. So.
Merchandise.
Yeah.
People love merchandise.
They say, well, how much is it if I can try to get it for free? Yeah, my favorite question. What's for free?
That's free.
What's for free? So I think that pretty much sums up everything. Oh, I want to make a quick mention for accessories. So for our hole saws, we actually redesigned them. So they are no longer called ice hardened hole saws. They're called hole dozers. We kept the part numbers the same, and the cost is the same. So everything's the same except how it's designed. The teeth are actually more similar to the Sawzall blade teeth though. So you can see, let me see, I can compare these two, I guess. So normal hole saws, and these are 2 new blades, but this is just a quick example. So normal hole saw blades look more like shark teeth. The new ones, there's actually a longer space between the front and the back of the screw, so it has a better cut capacity, which is cool. It is still made in the U.S., like the Sawzall blades or Sawzalls. We are one of very few companies actually do manufacturing in the U.S. But the most important thing about the hole saws now is that they have a warranty. They are the only accessories with a warranty. So for instance, had this been a hole saw, and I'm cutting and one tooth flies off, that is covered under warranty. But if they bring it back and all of them are evenly shaped, then clearly that's normal use. They don't need a free replacement. But
So it's under discretion of Milwaukee whether it's to replace.
yeah, well, I mean, we're pretty lenient. The plan behind this was going through a service center. But our closest service centers are in Beltsville, Maryland, or Philadelphia, and that's nowhere near where we are. So what Bob and I will do is, if you have a customer that needs a replacement, just replace it and I'll replace stock. That's the easiest way. So use your best judgment.
What if we were? Oh, okay. So inspect it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, what if we replace it and you guys
And try to
bring
get it back from them,
Yeah.
just so they won't try to get it.
There was a guy that came in and asked about it yesterday. He's like, "There's a warranty on hole saws," and I was like, "Yeah, this is new." I said, basically, like she said, this is if they snap it, they buy it, they use it once, they
Use it
snap a
once or twice.
tooth off, they're gonna replace it. But if you bring it back after 3 weeks and they're just all completely worn down, well, that just means they did 100 holes. I mean, so.
Yeah. And I mean, we're pretty lenient. I mean, I'm not going to chase you guys. I'm like, oh, give me that old hole saw. Just replace it, and then we'll follow up afterwards and see. Because sometimes if there's an off case of a tool or accessory and it's not performing the way it should be, we can send it off to quality control. But for now, we're just gonna replace it. Just make sure you get the old one back in if we have it in stock. So if we can keep at least 2 of whichever hole saws you stock, so we can have a replacement just in case we need it on the spot instead of trying to order or wait for the approval to get one shipped in. But
What's that over there in that package?
these are precision. I didn't realize
okay.
I took them out the bag. Precision screwdrivers. So I look at that like the eyeglass case.
Yeah.
So I'm more curious to see those operate in the field because I haven't really seen screwdrivers that small being used on job sites. Does anybody have a customer that's using precision
I
screwdrivers?
see like HVAC.
I guess working in.
Adjusting controls, small controls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See a lot more on the electrical side than with like your
Electrical.
controllers, your PLCs and things, I would think.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think I
Or my
covered
son's toys.
everything that's there. Are there any other tools that you guys may have had questions on? Need demos? We have press tools, which are a lot of people, because of the price, they want to see the demo first. And we do have them in 12 and 18 volts. So press tools literally connect. Is anybody familiar with press tools? Not familiar with press tools. Yep, so they can just connect by it. And there's two different models, one for 12 and one for 18.
What's the capacity on the 12 volt?
An inch and a quarter is the jaws.
What's the difference again between the long throw and the short throw?
The reach, and the long throw can do stainless steel.
So, and I think they're now approved for the black pipe fittings too.
Yeah, but we
Like
have
it's
black
right.
iron press
Yeah,
jaws now.
that's what's on.
Yep. So that's a
I still up to 2 inch on that for the black iron.
that one. I think that one goes up to 4.
Oh, it goes up to 4 now?
Yeah, let me check.
No,
Not the black.
Not yet. The black iron.
Copper
Okay.
does.
Someday, yeah. I'm sure that's in the works right now.
Yeah.
If we're just doing it, I'm sure Milwaukee's doing it.
Well, that's up to Vega. Vega didn't make it yet. Vega didn't make the Mega Press for over 2 inch yet.
Oh, okay,
So until they do that,
Yeah,
There's no need
there's
for
no
it.
tool for it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I was thinking of copper.
We talked about, Taneeka, for the sales, that the rigid and Milwaukee jaws for the press tool are interchangeable.
They are compatible. So if a customer has a rigid tool and he wants to get the Milwaukee jaws for 2.5 to 4 inches, they can. It'll still work, and vice versa. But of course, we try to get them out of the rigid tool, right? We offer them. We have trade-ins that we do. I want to say the trade-in on the press tool max is $300. So depending on what they trade in, I think it starts between $150 up to $300. You get something off.
And theirs is usually in stock as opposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's in stock, it just might not ship one day soon.
So essentially everything
It's always better.
Milwaukee's can do in terms of jaw
They keep it there.
capacities, jaw types,
Yep.
all crossover.
Yep.
Hmm.
And then the thermal imagers is also another key tool that we need to get in your hands of your customers. That's a good preventive maintenance tool. A lot of people are hesitant towards the price, but it's actually the best priced thermal imager on the market. Because thermal imagers can go up to tens and thousands of dollars, and ours is about $3. So
Do you have one of them in your truck? Or?
I don't, but I will have it by Wednesday.
Okay,
And if we
you
need
on
it-
the 25th, yes.
Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions? Well, you guys are first come, first served to the catalog, so I'll let you guys work that out.
Might as well just send a whole box of
Take
those
this
in.
print.
Okay. Well, who wants one now? Who needs one
I'll
now?
take one now.
Yeah.
I'll just
You have a
pass
whole
it around.
bunch of them out in your truck.
This is it. They only, for some reason, they only let me order in quantities of 10.
Can you get more?
Yeah, I can.
Because it's
But
nice.
they'll just ship in 10s,
I'm
though, so
standing
you
in
guys
line.
can get multiple packages.
If we go
There's
in,
only
Come on,
that many
Jerry.
left.
I was like,
Come
alright.
on.
if we go in and
Jerry.
tell customers
I'll
about
just
this,
like, okay.